Good morning and welcome to More Than Meets the Eye. Today is the start of the Transformers Alternator Binaltech series. Yeah, I talked about that in a video I made yesterday. I was going to start doing some Binaltech and Alternator stuff. Thank you again to Transformers Land for having these items available. I traded my Quintesson soldiers from the War for Cybertron series the trilogy series that Walmart did. I traded a couple of them and a Unicron for Armada Unicron. He was taking up a lot of space, and I wanted to get something really nice that brought me more joy than Unicron did. Unicron was nice. I appreciated Unicron in my collection for as many years as I had him, and we discussed him on the show. But it was time for him to go. His joy was no longer there, and what I got instead brings me just as much joy as Unicron once did. And I got myself a Binaltech Hound and Alternators Mirage. Now, Alternators Mirage is a special case, and he will be discussed at the end of this series because he was one of the last alternators to go out. Somebody suggested I do this series with the idea of starting from the newest one, or I mean the one of the first ones made, and moving upwards from there. And I believe Hound is literally the earliest model of the models I have. So we're starting off with Hound. Now please go below, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Now this is Binaltech Hound. Binaltech Hound. Now to those of you who weren't around back then, or who weren't paying attention, when the Alternator series came out here in America, they came out with a series in Japan at the same exact time. Now, the series in Japan was called Binaltech, and Binaltech was Alternators. The biggest difference between Binaltech and Alternators, there were a few, like different weapons and things like that because of because of legal reasons here in America. For instance, Windcharger had a much longer gun barrel that actually acted as the transmission for the car, but they couldn't bring that piece to America because that piece was it was really long. So they removed it for the American Windcharger in the Alternators version. And other things like that did happen for other members of the Alternators squadron or team or patrol, whatever you want to call that toy line. Binaltech, on the other hand, didn't have those things because Japanese children understand that you're not supposed to, get toys lodged in your eyeball or stick them down your ear hole or things like that. Japanese children, judging by the laws and regulations in Japan, seem to be a little more clever than American children when it comes to, not hurting themselves with toys. No, I'm just going by the laws and regulations. I'm not even paying attention to what really may happen in the world. I'm just going by what's on the books. And what's on the books in Japan is different than what's on the books here in America. Now, that's always important to remember, even when, especially whenever you're traveling and stuff. Always, pay attention to the laws and the regulations in the country you're going to because they're not always the same. And, for instance, in Dubai, you may want to hawk up a loogie, but you don't do that in Dubai. That will get you a ticket because you're not allowed to spit in Dubai. Yeah, that is a rule. So pay attention to those things. All right, now let's get into this. And I love these toys. I do. I just love them because they were so cool. And when they came out, I was 16 when Sideswipe and Smokescreen came out. And I picked them up because they just that cherry red Sideswipe I couldn't miss it on the shelf. I was just like, yes, I want my cherry red Sideswipe. And cherry red Sideswipe was awesome. I love cherry red Sideswipe. And the Smokescreen was really cool. I really liked that one too. And it was just I was a person who, in my teenage years, I used to build model cars. I built a lot of model cars. I enjoyed painting them and building them and everything about them. So when I came across these alternators on the toy shelf, my first thought was model car. My second thought was, wait, Transformers? What's going on here? That doesn't look like a Transformer. That looks like a, oh crap, I even forgotten the name of I think Sideswipe was a Chevrolet. But Anyway, you look at it, you're like, that's not that's a model car. That no way is that a transformer. So I had to get my first one sideswiped, and I had to take him home, and I of course transformed him, and I was very, very, very satisfied with his transformation. That was sublime, and it was something I had been looking for a while because we had car robots, aka Robots in Disguise 2001, and that was it for vehicle transformations. Everything else was Beast Wars stuff or Beast Machines stuff, and that stuff was okay, but I wanted something more as an older teenager. I wanted something that I could invite a girl over to my room and I could, she wouldn't know that I love Transformers. She would not have a clue that I played with Transformers. And that was why I loved these things. I loved them because I could just transform them into their vehicle modes and pretend I just had a model car collection. And it worked. It worked very well, actually. So I have always cherished these because of how many good times they brought me. And how many times I would just have conversations with people and pick up like Hound here and just transform him while talking to them, and then they go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait, hold up a minute, that's a transformer." Yeah, it was always amazing. I loved it every single time. Surprising people with these transformers. So that's just the story, and this first video is going to be a bit longer because of that story. But let's get into the actual vehicle here now. This is based on a Jeep Wrangler. Everything from a Jeep Wrangler in the early 2000s is available here, except for maybe the cover. Now, funny story, they did come out with Swindle in Jeep Wrangler form. He was a bright yellow Jeep with, I think, purple tires, and he had purple inside of him as well. And then he had a big old chrome thing on his front. And I hate that I lost my first Facebook because when I was at the University of South Alabama, I had Swindle on my little dormitory shelf, and that weird little structure that's in a dormitory. One bed on one side, one bed on the other, and then you got this weird structure in the middle with shelves and things. Yeah, so I had my Swindle there, and I'm walking around the frat area of the University of South Alabama, and I see a yellow Jeep Wrangler with big old chrome front, roll bars and stuff like that, and I go, oh my god, that's Swindle. So I went and got my Swindle, and I put the Swindle on the hood of that vehicle, and I took a picture of it. And I really wish I just left a phone number there and given that person Swindle. I really regret not doing that because that was I should have been nicer right there, giving him a letter like, hey, I left a Swindle in your car because you're driving Swindle, and I figured you needed Swindle and Swindle action. It's just a lot of fun. Now, the Jeep Wrangler for Hound is painted in the traditional green of the Jeeps, and the wheels are all well done. I like the spring-loaded action they got here. These are nice. It's not as springy as it used to be, but these front ones do handle a lot of pressure, and that can be understandable. But for some reason, this guy's like unsticking. Hey, now, don't do that. You're supposed to lock in place and then be wonderful. No, don't do that. So, this is a must-have, in my opinion, for the Alternators collection because they really did it with Hound here. Now, fun thing about the Alternators is they always found a unique and interesting way to hide the weapon. And in here, let's open this up. Okay, now this is hard to open. The Alternators version is easier to open for some reason. They used a different plastic for this spare tire bit. And there's a way to slide it open, and there's a way to not slide it open. And you got to remember how to do this. Let's see. Pull at that little edge there. There it goes. So flip this thing out, around, so it's sitting on the side, and then it rolls out. So you can reach in here, and you can pull out Hound's pistol. And that is such a fun little treat. I like that the pistol is just kind of in here, and it is so fun. All right. Let's slide this guy back in there. Oh, not that way, not that way. We've got to put it in there like he would draw it. And that's how you're supposed to put this gun in. You got to remember, handle, cool. So we're going to set it up with the handle sticking out. Not that way. There's There's a right way and a wrong way to do this. There we go. Okay. Come on. Come on, get in there. Get in there, you silly, silly goat. There it goes. Okay. Let's closing it back up. Nope, nope, nope. I screwed up. All right. We'll turn it around. There it goes. And there it goes. Nice. Yeah. Squeeze that just in there. Okay. I'm going to leave it untabbed so it's easier to get at whenever I transform him, because that is difficult to open up. Now, let's go over this thing like in depth with our hands and talk about all the textures and stuff added to this. Now, on the front of this guy, we've got a wonderful bumper, and this bumper isn't made of metal. Nope. But this is. And that's the difference between the Binaltech also is Binaltech is made of metal, or at least there's portions of it that are made of metal. And this was honing back to the old days of Transformers where they were metal and plastic mixed, and I do miss those days. They did add a lot of weight to the Transformer, and that could cause problems with the joints. But with modern day ratchet joints, I think that they could easily go back to metal and have a better time of it, especially as oil prices increase and stuff. Metal may be actually the cheaper route soon enough, but I would suggest aluminum. If you ever tried this again, Hasbro, with metal and stuff, or I would suggest aluminum because it's lighter metal, and you can probably get a nice aluminum that's hard to bend or misshape, and that would be wonderful. So on the front, we've got, of course, our typical grille for a Jeep Wrangler, little headlights on either side. There's the turning lights, the turning signals on the very edges of the bumper, right in front of the wheel. Really well done when it comes to the sculpt work. They really busted their asses making this. Aaron Archer and his team, they did an exceptional job. Now, come up here to the hood, and we've got a wonderful hood. You can feel this really cool hood. There's not much going on with it because it is a car hood, but there are some little divots, and there's also the big the big hinges that a Jeep has. Now you can pick up the hood, and you reveal an engine in here. There's a nice engine in there, and it's really well done and sculpted. I love the fact that you could just kind of have his hood open, and then you would open up his little doors all the way, and there you go. He doesn't have a trunk to open, but he's still cool. And I love the fact that they textured the engine in there. Now, the engine for Hound here is actually the back of his biceps, so his tricep area. That's the engine. And I always love that it hides so well, even though it's on the back of his arms. You just never expect it. And you close this up. Now, a fun piece that Hound here has that others don't is this little turny bit. Hound is a robot in disguise, and I don't know why they didn't do that with more figures, but you could. There's this little Autobot symbol that you can spin around to either reveal the Autobot symbol or take it away. Now, I don't know what I just did. I may have taken it away, I may have revealed it, but I did spin it 180 degrees, so whichever the case. And of course, you saw how that, if you didn't see, when this opened up, there's this little piece here that opens up, this little metal bit, and that is where the head pops out. So the head actually rests in here. And coming up here to the windshield, we've got wonderful little we've got windshield wipers sculpted in here, and they're really well done. And then on top of the roof of this, for the roll bars, you've got all the connection points where you would snap the cloth into place. And I appreciate that attention to detail. That is what made this thing amazing for me. And honestly, why I disliked Armada toys so much. I mean, I love the show Armada, but I didn't like the Armada toys because this was on the shelf at the same time. So you look at the Armada toys and you go, very childlike. And then you look at these and you're like, whoa, hold up a second. And these cost less than the Armada toys? I'm going to get these. Yeah, because these were like $20 on the shelf, or $25 on the shelf back then. And the Armada toys ranged from $10 all the way up to like $100. So, or maybe it was $80. I forget exactly how much. And it's over 20 years ago. And these toys, or was about 20 years ago, honestly. So I went with these because it just the Armada stuff and the Energon stuff and the Cybertron stuff just it was not as complicated. It didn't drive me as much as this did. And coming over here to the side, we've got these wonderful little uh, rear view mirrors that are on some rubberized little bits so that they just kind of wobble there. And that's nice. That way, they don't break in your box. If something were to hit them, instead of snapping, they just wiggle a bit, and that's always wonderful. We've even got a little platform down here to put your foot on to get into the Jeep, and then on the back side here, we've got the rear seats for the Jeep. You can fold them down if you want to. I think that's also fun. Like, yeah, you got a lot of stuff to carry in your Jeep. You can actually fold the seats down. This one's not folding down. There it goes. You can fold the seats down to give you more storage space back there. And I think that's just fun. And that is an aspect of this. Now I do wish they hadn't waffled the underside of the backside of these seats, but you know, with how much they actually did with this, I will forgive the waffling on the back of the rear seats. But I do like that they fold up. Now, to anybody didn't know, Jeeps never, for the longest time, they didn't have four doors. They only had two doors, and you had to just climb into the back seats. And that was for many, 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 many years until Jeep was like, we created the four-door Jeep. Ooh, buy it now. So that's a fun Jeep. I've always been a fan of Jeeps. I told myself, if I ever owned a vehicle, it would be a Jeep. It would be it would be a World War II era Jeep because I like those a lot. But this one's also a lot of fun, especially the roll bars. The roll bars are nice because boom, boom, boom. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, if you buckled in with your 5-point harness, you're not. If it flips over, you're okay. And that's why I like the roll bars with the Jeeps. Yeah, that's a very important safety feature. And me, like rolling him around, caused Cream to look up from his nap. It woke him up. So that is this Jeep. Like, you can go find any Jeep from the early 2000s as a blind person and put your hands on it, and everything on that Jeep will be in this thing. So long as the Jeep wasn't like a deluxe model or something, then those things will be on the Swindle Jeep because the Swindle was the deluxe model. There's a little joystick, little shifter in there. Yeah. I don't know the name of it because I only driven a couple of times in my life. And there's a little steering wheel. We got a nice seat, very well textured. There's just the negative of there's not much space between the seat and the steering wheel right there. That's the thing with this. The vehicle modes, the interiors are very crowded. You would think you would be able to slip in a figure, but you can't. I think they did their best with designing this, but sacrifices had to be made. So there's not really a floorboard or a place to put legs. Like if you take the legs off of some figures and put them in here, it probably would work. But I suggest taking them off at the knee and gluing them in there if you really want them to look nice. Now, let's go over the transformation tomorrow because I want to make sure that the transformation video is its own thing. That way, anybody wanting to to learn how to do this doesn't have to listen to me blather on and on about the vehicle mode before we finally get to the transformation. That's generally why I separate these into 3 parts, because I want to be able to discuss the vehicle mode in depth and discuss the robot mode in depth, and of course discuss the transformation in depth. And instead of giving you an hour-long video, I just split it up into thirds, and that way you can pick and choose what you care to see. If you want to see more about the robot, then check out the robot video I'm going to upload on Friday. If you want to see more about the transformation, check out the transformation video I'll be uploading tomorrow. But for the most part, this is one amazing, amazing vehicle. It's a snapshot into Transformers history, a point that Transformers was doing well. And honestly, these are why I don't like the Bayverse movies. Okay? These guys right here are the exact reason that I dislike the Bayverse movies, the transformations in them. These came out before the 2007 movie. When 2007 movie came out, Mirage had just come out, if I'm remembering everything right. So there were plenty of vehicles in Transformers. And, oh, I forgot to mention, they had the trademarks for them. They had the trademarks for the Wrangler at the time, so they could have given us a Hound in Transformers, 2007. They could have given us a Hound as a Jeep Wrangler, and it would have been exceptional. It would have been exceptional. I just look, Michael Bay was just terrible with the Transformers. He didn't do any research beforehand. He just kind of took it and ran with it. And I wish that somebody in his life had walked into his office and thrown down a box of alternators and said, "These are really cool. These will help our graphic design team out. This should help us save a lot of money because we've got these things to go off of for all of our 3D designs." I don't know why they didn't do that. I don't know why they didn't contact Aaron Archer and get Aaron Archer to help them develop these things. I've got no idea why that movie didn't communicate with the other Transformers creators and engineers. That movie was just awful. And I stand by that. I've never liked the Transformers 2007 movie. And there's many, many reasons to it why I don't like it. One of them being the fact that they treat Bumblebee like a dog. And I don't like that at all. Bumblebee was the diplomat, and they took his voice. And I will never forgive Michael Bay for taking Bumblebee's voice like that. That was just wrong, man. You took his voice, and you never apologized for it. Not once did you apologize for taking that bot's voice from us. And then for some reason, when his voice was gone, it's like his intelligence just freaking fell down into dog mode. And he was just a dog transformer. There are actual dog transformers, Michael Bay. You could have just made the character that Sam Witwicky's hanging out with, not Bumblebee, but one of the dog transformers or something like that. You know, I would have been okay. I could see that working, but no. Sorry, I'm getting in the weeds about the Michael Bay movies. If you haven't told, I just don't like them, and I will talk trash about them for hours and hours and hours and hours. And it all comes down to the fact that I was collecting alternators in the beginning of those, whenever we were hearing about those movies and things, and in the conversations where they were going to base a lot of it off the alternators because the alternators were already there. The trademarks were already available. They had it all. And then they went in a different direction because Hasbro trusted Michael Bay with their Transformers, and they should never have trusted Michael Bay. But I'll stand by that. That is a hill I will die on. Is my dislike of Michael Bay movies. I just don't like any of them. They're all just garbage, in my opinion. And because it's not a Transformers movie, it's a how humans deal with the idea of Transformers movies. That's it. It's all about the humans in those movies. It's all about the humans, and the Transformers are not even secondary characters. They're more tertiary characters, quadriary characters. They're pentiary characters. They're just down there. They're so low on the list of things to care about in that movie, and it sucks. I want more Transformers in my Transformers movies. Even with the new one, Rise of the Beast. They totally dropped the ball there because they were like, oh, let's add more humans. No. We want a Transformers movie with Transformers. Like Transformers 1 that just came out, last summer. I finally managed to get to watch it, or listen to it at least, and yeah, I didn't agree with everything that happened in that movie, but I'll tell you one thing that I really loved about that movie. There wasn't a single human in it, and I absolutely adored the fact there wasn't a human. I was so happy that there wasn't a human, because I don't care about the humans when I'm watching a Transformers movie. The humans are just secondary characters. That's their job. They're supposed to be secondary. They're not supposed to take the spotlight from the Transformers. And now I'm going on completely off the rails. So let me end it up real quick before I can, continue blathering on about my dislike of movies. Anyway, you check out all the alternator stuff. One more thing I wanted to mention about this. He's come apart a little bit. There on the back is a license plate, and it says Hound. And I like that every one of the alternators in Binaltech came with a license plate. I don't remember exactly how it's spelled Hound out, but it says Hound there on the little license plate. Now, me fiddling with him has gotten this part to separate, and I'll have to like put that back together. Squeeze again. There it goes. Yeah. Wonderful little license plate. Every one of them had a license plate, and every license plate had their name on it and the little either an Autobot symbol or a Decepticon symbol. That was an attention to detail that was just, it was amazing. And they don't even do that today. I would love for them to print license plates on all their Transformers. You got an Earth mode Transformer? Print a license plate on it. It won't take much, and it will look nice too. And it's just fun to have a license plate that says Hound, a little Autobot symbol on his back. And I'm not sure if he has it on the front or not, but he does have a license plate part on his front, which it may have, but I've forgotten all these years. It feels a little slick, so maybe there's printing on that license plate. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments below. Is there printing on that license plate? And I'll let you go here. Thank you all so much for watching me blather on about Hound and how much I enjoyed this character, how much I love Jeep Wranglers, and how much I despise the Michael Bay movies for not using any of the Alternators designs, even though they were apparent. They were right there. And Aaron Archer probably would have appreciated the accreditation in the Transformers 2007 movie. Thanks for watching. Until next Prime, I've been Blind Prime, and this big orange thing that's been sleeping over here on the side has been Cream. Who's a good Cream? Who's a good Cream? Who's a big, giant, sleeping orange cat? You. Yes, you are. You are the biggest orange cat. Until next Prime, bye-bye for now.